right, guys, so let's get started. Let's start standing. And when we start in standing position, the posture is our physical, the gross body, main focus. So take a moment here to stand up nice and tall. One of the things I always loved about yoga is it's barefoot. Okay, I tend to do even like a lot of fitness stuff barefoot, running, weightlifting. So take a moment, start to feel your toes. So we'll just take our time here. You're starting to feel your heels, your toes, your arches a little bit more. Close your eyes, please. And then start to activate your calves and your ankles. And then start to maybe feel your pelvis. I do give it like a little bit of movement. I start to roll my shoulders up, back, and down a few times. I can even roll out my wrists. You're just kind of like tuning into your body. In a stronger class, we might do this in down dog or something. Lift the crown of your head straight up. And like I like to suggest here, I want to see you roll your shoulders back and down. So these shoulder blades here, these big triangle bones, where it's like we put them back and then down. So if I had jeans on, they'd slide in my back pockets. Is a kind of little metaphor there. I'm lifting the crown up, feeling all the weight equally distributed in my foot. So if I lean out, press the big toe down more. We're standing with a lot of subtle intention, okay? So once the gross physical body is more intentionally and conscious, subtly aware, I start to go into more of the subtle body, which is, it starts with the breath. So a slow, deep inhale in your nose. You're feeling, meditating on that breath, and a slow exhale. We're just going to be here for a few more moments to start practice. So it's a slow, smooth breath in and out the nose. I know a lot of, fitness styles and yoga teachers, they teach mouth breathing. We don't want that, when you think about when you're stressed, where you tend to breathe. Mouth, right? Think about when you're stressed, where in your body you tend to breathe? Chest versus abdomen, chest. We don't necessarily want to get better at that. There are times for that. We want to really shift the breath towards a more intentional, conscious breath. If any of you have ever used the breath to calm down, usually it's just like a natural response. If you feel some anxiety or stress, you'll tend to take a deep breath in your nose. And we want to try to do that into the abdomen. And another little thing here we do, how do we encourage more nasal breathing? We want to keep our mouth shut. We want to remember to keep our mouth closed. So my lips stay sealed. My jaw is actually closed, so my teeth probably gently touch. And at the same time, my tongue goes to the top of my mouth. So you can see the difference quickly here. Here my tongue is down. And here my tongue goes up. I want the tongue at the top of the mouth, the lips, jaw closed. I want the tongue, not only the tip of the tongue on the top of the mouth, but almost the back part of your tongue. Now that's not it. That's not easy, okay? But really the tongue should take up the whole mouth cavity. There's no space between the top of your mouth and the top of your tongue. And you're breathing smooth and slow in and out your nose. And think about when you're stressed. The breath is short, the breath is erratic, the breath is loud. It's all the opposite. Abdominal, slow, deep, smooth, with mouth closed. That's what we're working on, yogis. I want you to do that more than exercise. That will change the chemistry of the nervous system. And that's a very simple thing you can do anytime in your car. You could do it, watching TV. You can do it when you're going to bed or waking up, right? So that's that breathing practice I want you to work on, okay? Now we'll add exercise. So here's me from the side. Practical stuff you can do in your morning walk or evening walk. Marching in place or marching as I walk. Right knee, left arm lift, right arm goes back. Now I do it pretty extreme so you can see it, but it can just look more like this, right? You don't have to go like crazy range. So I'm just slowly bringing my right arm forward, left knee forward. Whatever knee goes forward, the opposite of that same arm goes back. So If I was on my morning walk, I want to make it more functional, you know, I might do a couple of these. How can we make that walk you're doing daily more effective and beneficial for your mind and body? Well, one way is to train ranges of motion and activations better, not just have such a repetitive linear thing like this. That's supposed to be your coffee, right? We want to make our walk, our morning wake up pattern and blood flow pattern more strategic, more intelligent, okay? So our first thing is just walking in place, right? Take your time there. Now, the next thing I might suggest is stopping, widening your feet, and then one of my all-time favorite exercises is just kind of doing a couple air squats where I pull my arms back. So some of us tend to walk like this. This first inhale, you start to reach your arms forward, exhale back. Just notice my hips and butt do squeeze at the top with a little bit of this hip going forward motion. Now, it doesn't need to be that deep, right? When I teach, you know, I've worked with people in their 90s, I've mentioned, you know, you basically have them just do this. But at the top, I want that butt squeeze and pull the belly up. In case you tend to stand like this more, I want that pattern of squeezing your butt hips going forward. So you see how the top takes me out of here, which is kind of like chair, and then I tilt. So it is a cat-cow in a sense. See that? So you know, you start, you're doing your morning walk, you start to do your march, you stop, you take a few of these, right? Okay, now go slow. This is kind of after you're warmed up. You walk for 10 minutes, 15 minutes already, right? So the next thing I might do is, we'll just do it in this form since it's on a mat, but I'll show you in a moment walking form. I could step my left foot back. It's basically like a lunge. In a sense, it's walking, but taking a long stride. So if I was walking, it doesn't have to be a lot to be good for you. A lot of times we get stuck in this kind of athletic mentality where we push the body so hard, a lot of times it's almost beating the body up. It's proven, yogis, that a lot of exercise not only overstrains muscles, joints, connective tissues, and compresses joints, but it creates a lot of what's called lactic acid. Yogis, lactic acid, basically in a nutshell, restricts oxygen flow to the cell. It makes your body way more acidic. And if you're unaware, you don't want a lot of acid in the body. What's the number one way we alkaline the body? Breathing in and out your nose. Do you know that a nasal breath is way more alkaline because you release the nitric oxide in the nose? Stop mouth breathing, please. It will change your life in a lot of ways. You might not notice it immediately, but then all of a sudden you're going to have epiphany and be like, oh my goodness, why wasn't this taught to us in high school? Why wasn't this taught to us as kids? Okay, it should be. Breathing should be taught since we're young. It's so silly it's not. All right, that's a change I'm going to make when I run for president. All right, let's get out of there. So you did your little squats or lunges. These are foundational exercises used in all types of fitness, okay? And now we might want to start a twist. So, you know, there is a lot of ways to do this, but I like to just kind of go like this to start. It's very loosening. So notice my knees give a little bend, my arms kind of go, and you know, when I teach this to more people tighter or I'm not, we don't want to build too much strain in motion. It just looks like this. And there is a way to do this walking. You just kind of like twist as you walk. See this? You think about rotating your spine. So if you're just joining, we're doing a class that's kind of, how can we make exercise more practical? A lot of times when I'm walking, I'll do something like this, look. I'm starting to twist that core. Yogis, the way you keep joints freely movable is move them. It's not rocket science, okay? The way they get tight is by not moving them or bearing a lot of weight on them. So people who like jog and cycle a lot, they wonder why this is so dang tight and this is so dang tight. It's because you never moved that way, and all that did was stabilize so you can move better forward and back. All right, so if you're just joining, this is a nice way just to kind of start the twisting body. Very gentle. Not trying to go crazy now. In practice, you can start to go like this, and you can even combine the two, like lunge with the twist. Okay, so a lot of times I'm doing my morning walk with my little pup, and I'll just kind of go like this. So in a sense, now I'm lunging a little forward, little stride, and then I twist against that front leg. That is a much more aggressive approach though, all right? Now, let's keep it going. Now, what would I recommend next? Maybe you stop and you do some arm circles. In my opinion, this is just so much more practical because you don't have to go to the gym really to be healthy. You don't. Do I recommend you lift weights once, twice a week? Probably, yeah. If you never do, definitely, yeah. If you lifted weights your whole life, you could probably start taking a break and taking weeks or months off because you probably created so much tension and compression. I did reverse directions. Remember, gentle version looks like this more. I just soften. The more weight I have out, the more tension it's going to be, okay? So you did your thing, maybe a little wrist roll. You can still just be walking. You're rolling out your wrists. It's just kind of like a scan through the body here. Okay, so you're just taking your morning walk, you do your little circles. I like to suggest things like this. You're walking, and you do a little bicep curl. A lot of people have rotator cuff issues, and that upper bicep head sneaks under one of the rotator cuff muscles. That idea that all muscles are connected now, especially ones that are right next to each other. So I like to walk and do this. Just get a couple bicep curls in. Maybe you have your bottle of water you're walking with and you use it in one hand and you switch hands. So you get a little strength through the inner forearm and the bicep. That's your front muscle here, okay? Right there, it's gonna strengthen like the rotator cuff slightly too, right? And then stabilize like up here a little bit better, okay? And you can like combine things where you're squatting and doing like this, right? So you don't always have to do the big one, but I used it there today. Let's keep going, guys. Next thing, you're on your morning walk, right? Long walk. And you lift your heels. So little calf raises. Okay, one of my all-time kind of favorite overlooked exercises. You see a lot of people, they're going to the gym regularly, they're exercising regularly, they're doing those big phasic, their thighs, their butt and their hamstrings, and even their glutes, medius, but they're forgetting those calves. I want to see those calf raises worked into your normal life a little bit more. You don't even need to be warmed up for calf raises, especially if they're done like this. Just to be clear, in shoes, it is going to be a little bit easier on the feet. But this is going to activate your toes a little bit more. And, be easy. It seems simple, but if you don't do it regularly, it can put a lot of strain through the arch of the foot. Okay? So even a lot of these simple things, you can have a lot of risk, but that's life. Risk and reward, right? So we got to put out a little risk there to get that reward, okay? Next thing I like to do is start to add a side bend. This one's a little bit more tricky on a walk, but it's kind of simple. As I step a foot forward, I can just go like this. I'm trying to make it like, how can we do this in our mornings? If I haven't said that enough yet, I just kind of put my left foot forward and my right arm goes up. In yoga, we do this posture called Pedigasana. It's lunge with side bend. I'm not going to bring it there, but one left foot goes forward. Just to be clear, it's the right arm that goes up. So you're like this. So you're just kind of going. Another really basic thing people do is kind of like you just stop for a moment and you go like this. It just starts to move my spine laterally. Another nice thing people can do on their morning walk is just kind of turn to the side and do a few of these. This is really fantastic. Just to be clear, this isn't like classic yoga right now, but you just kind of walk laterally. See that? Abduction, adduction. That's a really nice thing to do. And then you're still walking along your path. You just turn around and you do this. That's actually a really just functional way, because now we're moving the legs. They are quite different. This is spinal more, and this is hip more. So maybe good to do a little bit of both. Okay. Now, what's next here, guys? It's the hip hinge. So we did a little rotation starting and lateral. So you might have to stop for this one. There is a stronger version I'll show next, but it's just the hip hinge. I'm not having you touch your toes. I'd rather have you bend your knees, stick your tailbone up in a way and hinge forward. Now, again, I'm pretty flexible, so I make it look pretty easy. And you gotta be careful trying to follow me because I do this stuff full time, yogis. My body's really conditioned to do a lot of this stuff. All right, I can do a lot of stuff that you shouldn't or can't. So, you know, when in doubt, a lot easier version than what I'm showing. So any range I show, you're maybe going here, wherever you feel some of that tension. So it's a dynamic kind of stretch. Now, in fitness, we might do something like this on our morning walk. In a sense, it's kind of like a second go at this, but it's straight leg. Whereas this is going to be a lot easier on the body. As I start to go here, notice my spine doesn't round forward. I see people going like this. That's a good recipe for back pain. If I keep that spine tall, just to be clear, this is the easy version. Okay? Now, there is some middle ground. I showed the toe taps up here. That's the more athletic version. A nice middle ground looks like this. If I'm on my morning walk, I'm really warmed up. I did some light lunging, some light squatting, some light lateral stepping, some light knee lifts. I could go like this, bend my right knee, left foot in front of me. And I do that same hinge, but now my one foot steps forward and foot's flex. Notice the opposite back knee is bent and I hinge. That's a really nice hamstring stretch. Just notice, guys, I am not bending forward that much, okay? It's all about keeping that back straight. We're always trying to teach the body like posture. And what's the main, a lot of times I mentioned this one, that's one of the main kind of postural spinal deviations that you see in the compensations. And it's this too. We don't want, some people's pattern is this, some people's pattern is more this. But ideally, I'd rather, anytime we're bending over, you're more like here, okay? So when you're done with that movement, stand up, guys. Give it a little shake. Okay, so the next thing that we can do here on our morning walk, it's actually like a pigeon now, or actually let's go with the butt activation first since we just did hinges. It's the same, but I kind of shoot back. Let's say it's the same plane. I'm just walking, watch, I shoot my left leg back a little bit. I step it forward, I shoot my opposite leg. You're gonna feel your butt turn on. Now just notice, it's barely a movement. See how my body doesn't change? I don't go like this or like this. Just a little bit of step and shoot that leg back. Look at my leg, stay straight. If I bend my knee, I'm not gonna get my butt. I'm targeting the butt. It's not a heel kick, which we can do that next. But look. Now, what does shooting my leg back want to do? It wants to arch my back and take the pelvis with it. Don't let it. Stay standing tall and shoot the leg back. It's very subtle, but the goal is to activate that butt so you take some of that tension out of your hip flexors, the psoas, especially if you're sitting a lot, guys. Think of it like a sphinx or a cobra almost, right? I mentioned butt kickers, you can do this. Just notice we did this one, that's high knee. Now my knees stay parallel and I just kick the heel of the butt. So that's gonna activate that hamstring. We just did butt, glute max, why don't we do its neighboring muscle, the hamstring? All right? And you know, heel to butt, little, can't remember, there's a couple names for that exercise. In fitness, you do it more like this. In fitness, we do high knees more like this. So you can see it's taken these really fundamental types of movements and exercises and just making them gentle, okay? It's a really good thing to remember. So let me think here just for a moment. Okay, so the last couple things we'll do standing today, all right? You know, you can always do things like this as I walk, just to give you some more food for thought. In case you're watching this video at a later time, I like to walk and do like, almost like a jumping jack. And then I'll do a couple like cross, open, opposite arm open, left arm on top open, right arm on top. I love doing that. So that's this range. We already did forward and back. So what are we lacking? So we're lacking one range. It's just rotation. You know, I love this one. And you can do this as you walk, right? So if you're coming through the shoulders, you know, I like dynamic stuff. The arms go wide, my right palm goes up. Don't take this one lightly, actually. It is a unique kind of strain through certain lines of the arms. My right palm goes up to the back, my left palm goes down to the back. So you can see they're opposites. See that? And then I'd switch, and just as I walk, I'm doing a little bit of this. You know, we do this one too. In case you're watching it at a later date, we do this one. Okay, so those are all, in a sense, rotational. Nice job. So here in the end, you know, I do want to, of course, activate balance. You know, obviously you can do like little neck movements are always good. Just kind of as you walk. Remember we did spinal rotation as we walk? You can do it with your neck. As my left foot goes forward, I look over my left shoulder. As my right foot goes forward, I look over my right shoulder. It's kind of like crossing the street. You really look left, right, left again. It's a busy street. You look right, you look left. That's the idea. You can add in, we just kind of went through some of the shoulder movements. Now we're just going through a little bit of the neck movements, okay? You know, I always say be careful with the lateral neck movement, more so than rotation forward and back. Your just neck doesn't move as much that way in normal life, okay? So I usually have to stretch that, all right? So listen, guys, what's the last thing we want to make sure we cover? Time we got here. Okay, it's only about 9:20. Let's do 3 more things. So one of my favorite things to do here is the pivoting with the feet. Remember how we just went like this? Something we're kind of lacking here. We did this side step, but you know, doing the rotational steps, you know, I can start to twist. I like to do it like this, where I plant my left foot, I step my right foot in front, turn the right toes in, I step my right foot back, turn my right toes out. Just notice my left foot doesn't pivot. I will show you how to do this walking in a moment. My left foot is cemented. In a sense, guys, it's really more like this for the shoulders, right? So right foot in front, turned in, right toes turned out and back, okay? So that's a really fantastic, same idea, these kind of wrapping stabilizing, how it like spirals around. The standard is called spiral line, you know now. And then you do your second side, left foot in front, right foot back, okay? Looks like this from the side. My right foot doesn't move. My right foot doesn't move. Do you want to know how you actually have a more healthy body? Be more aware of what your physical body's doing. I say don't do stuff all the time, and a lot of you just keep doing it. That is why your body probably isn't optimized, because there's a lot of stuff, your mind, you're not aware of what you're doing, okay? And that's really more important than doing, not doing stuff is more important than doing stuff, okay? Just like food, you gotta eliminate what's poisoning you first, or those health foods ain't really gonna matter as much, okay? You gotta, all right, so I mentioned about how do you do this when you walk? Now this one's a little bit, you know, not as easy to do walking, but remember I showed you this? And then you kind of just go into like a big circle. So on my morning walk, this would be, you know, I didn't want to necessarily mention this because you get dizzy. And then I reverse directions, right toes turn out, boom, right toes turn in, toes turn out, toes turn in. This is a way we do it sometimes, but like I said, you can get dizzy. Another little simple way is you stop and you go like this. They're all in a sense similar, okay? All right, so I gotta get us down to the ground here for some nice stretching and stuff, but I do wanna do our balance. On your morning walk, you might stop for a moment next to a tree, your favorite tree on your morning walk, and do your tree pose. But then you reach those branches high with the tree for the sun. Just like the trees reach for the sun, you reach up. And then you're gonna hold, okay? So this is our last thing on our morning walk.
You know, like say you go for a half hour, 45-minute walk, you walk for 15, and then you do, I mean, we've been going here, you know, I guess it's been about 25 minutes, but you can do it a little bit faster. You don't need to do them all. As you practice, you'll start to remember some of this stuff, and you can just do different ones on different mornings, depending on where you're feeling tight in your body currently. So, doesn't have to be exactly what I'm doing. We're just learning. Okay. Now, second side, tree pose, right foot on inner shin. And you know, I always suggest there are more challenging variations where we put the foot on the inner thigh, or we even hold the knee. Just like sometimes you would hold the knee here. Sometimes, you know, I could teach this movement in walking, but I did the marching in place. Same thing in tree. You hold here sometimes. Okay. Same thing in tree, you hold here. You could do this on your morning walk. I didn't show that one. I mean, we could spend here all day doing standing exercises. There's this morning, this. All right, I'll let you do your tree pose before I distract you the whole time. The goal is to find time each day to get on one foot and let that body kind of stabilize. That's why I mentioned just doing it while you're, you know, making your morning coffee, or you're doing it while you're brushing your teeth. It's just a simple way to get that done, not in like a separate time. You can kind of, you know, kill two birds with one stone there. Brush your teeth and, you know, program your nervous system better. So, you know, I mentioned you take your time. You know, some things I didn't show you are stuff like this, where I kind of pull that knee up, and then the opposite, I kind of grab that foot. Those are really nice. You know, I can get low and go like this on my morning walk. Fantastic stuff, right? I could I like this one here, guys, where I kind of walk wide. So I'm on my morning walk, and I start to shift side to side. It's almost like I'm pushing right and left, okay? There is the fun one that's a little more challenging, where I cross the legs. So I start to walk like this, but the beginner is just more like walking like this on a tightrope in your morning walk. So now that I gave you 400 exercises, and now your morning walk is 2 hours because you're exercising the whole time. Those are just some other little food for thought there. So we can mix it up each morning and keep that body challenged and fresh. How about we take a nice stretch, be easy. Maybe have your blocks in front of you. Big inhale, and let's bend the knees, maybe reaching for your knees, your blocks, or the floor. Just 3 to 4 breaths, please, not too long. Remember that standing exercise tends to be considered active and strengthening, so we will lean towards stretch and stillness now, because class was dynamic and standing. All right, guys, let's step back to our tabletop position, and let's do our good old cat-cows. You know, there are some substitutes. You know, I didn't mention one of my all-time favorite movements, but, you know, I can't give you everything in one day. In a sense, cat-cow is doing something like, you know, especially if I start to draw circles, you're doing something like this, but on your tabletop, and this is how you would do it standing, let's say. It's not easy to do standing cat-cow, right? It looks like this more. So it's not really ideal. A lot of tension through there. So I like to bring you down here and go here for this motion. And circle. All right, let's do a seated sequence today for our legs. If you do have a strap, you can grab it now. If you look, I can just use a blanket here. You know, I could roll it up. I could use a belt. I should have mentioned that we were maybe going to use that earlier, but, you know, I forgot. So we just did touch the toes, so we'll skip that for now. I want to bring my left foot on my inner right thigh. Now, here's a place where those blocks might come in handy. You know, I'd rather have your sit bones kind of down than your knee down. And notice, I don't have it like way under me. I have it kind of out where it just rests down, okay? My right leg's in front of me, my left knee's bent. I can take that prop now, a little bit more stretching. I have my prop here, and I sit up nice and tall. Remember, that's more of my goal, guys. And I want to have a great pull now. So I, just like a reverse chaturanga where you're here, Now I kind of have my arms straight and I pull the elbows back. All right, I'm pressing my sit bones down, my feet down, and let's just breathe now. So the tongue is at the top of the mouth, the lips are sealed, the jaw is slightly not clenched, but sealed closed. The tongue is at the top of the mouth, you're breathing slow in and out the nose. The main reason people mouth breathe is just habit, right? A lot of us do get congestion, and that creates the bad habit over time. But don't worry, your nose is designed to like clear. So if you just start, I know it's tough, especially with like kids to teach nasal breathing. They have trouble working through the congestion. Work through it. It will clear up, okay? Let's sit up and switch legs. Now, guys, I know sitting can be tough, but a lot of us are seated a lot, so we need to practice sitting upright, okay? We are using our little towel or our belt to help us sit up taller. Give a little assist by pulling those elbows back, lifting that chest up, flexing that front foot. Let's breathe, please. Now I want you to take your time, right? A little bit longer hold here, sitting up tall, hinging forward. We already did a little bit of stretch like that, so we don't need too much, but it's the first asymmetrical big one. Seems simple, but it can be pretty challenging. So a nice easy twist today now, yogis. Let's lean back if you need. You know, I like this one here, this little windshield wipe, kind of giving a little butt massage. My hands are behind me. And you're massaging out your butt. So you might feel a little achiness in there. You get the piriformis, that deep rotator muscle below the glute max. It connects your that big hip bone of the femur to the sacrum. So it can be quite sore, okay? Now, I'm just gonna do a nice gentle twist here. Right shin in front of left. So we can hold a little bit longer, okay? Left hand behind, right outside the knee. Just lift that chest, roll your shoulders back and down. Just gaze over your left shoulder and twist. You know, if you want to do a different one, that's fine. You know, you could do the same position we just did. You could do, you know, this one we do a lot, all right? But I just want to break this easier one out. Remember, the shoulders go back and down into those rear pockets in the pants. Big inhale, please. Slowly, we'll come back to center. If you'd like to switch the crossing your legs up, that's always good. Right. So I'm sitting up nice and tall, and just nice and simple, right hand behind, left arm outside that right knee. I want to lift my chest, roll my shoulders back and down, gaze over my right shoulder. And then do my breath work in and out my nose.
All right, guys, so we had a nice little lateral rotation. We had some abduction and hamstring. We do have to do our antagonist. Want to bring this one back around. So you want to think knees together, bend, going backward. If you can't do this, we lay on the back, on the side, and reach back with our right hand. But this is traditionally taught in gentle yoga. I know sometimes in the modern, kind of lifestyle, this becomes very difficult. You're on your feet all the time, or you're sitting all the time. Basically, a repetitive, static pattern can tighten the knee a lot, right? So sitting, lean to your left, right knee bends. Now, at first, the foot was on the inner thigh, knee was out. I gotta untuck my calf. I wanna bring my knees closer together. Look at my foot, yogis. The pinky toe is down. A lot of times you see people doing this one. That's not wrong. It's just, you should be able to do this one first. This is kind of like a way we do it because you can't do this. But this is first level. If you can't do this, it's kind of like, don't do, full splits before half splits, okay? Knees together, right sit bone down more. So a lot of times I'm kind of tilted over to my left outer hip. I want to try to get my right sit bone down more. That can be very difficult. Now, I do want to try to go back here. I did mention that this is my easier version. Same side, right hand to right foot, pad the head. But as I pull the heel to the butt, the knee behind me, there is more effort here, guys. I have to pull the ribs in because the leg behind you is going to want to arch your back. So if I'm here, I got to pull my ribs in if I'm laying on my side. So let's meditate here and breathe, please. We got to stretch our thigh, yogis. And if you can't do either of those two, you do it like this. But it's the same. Watch. As I pull the knee back and pull the heel to the butt, my back wants to arch. Okay? I want to pull the ribs in and the knee back. So that stretch goes up through the thigh and the quad and the hip flexor. Let's slowly switch sides, please. So my left foot does tuck around and under. The left hip does go just inside, so I'm not sitting on my heel either. You can see the whole foot, right? Okay, and then you're gonna lean back. And remember, yogis, when I started yoga, this posture was just torturous. It felt horrible, like it was gonna hurt me. And that was because I was an athlete and my knees were so designed via certain stimuli to stabilize, to basically just be tighter. Because I was cutting and pivoting and jumping and sprinting. So my knees were tight. Collagen 1, it's called. Remember, you have like 28 types of collagen. Your hair is a type of collagen, basically, right? And collagen 1 is the most dominant form of collagen. Like 95% of your collagen in the average body, in the average adult body, is collagen 1. And it's very dense type. It's a very stiff and immobile type of collagen. We want to really notice where that collagen 1 is over dense, and that's where you're going to have so much restriction, like a lot of people have around their shoulder. It hurts to lift their shoulder. That's fascial collagen adhesions. So as we just hold here, you are having a new stem cell response. You do get more collagen 3, which is the more bendy style, and the elastic style, and then you literally do create what's called elastin. So it's a very, just like it sounds, it's elastic, right? Very bendy, movable form of our collagen. Basically, you're breaking down, catabolic, metabolism. So metabolism is basically a combination of anabolism and catabolism, building new cells, breaking cells down, respectively. And that's what metabolism is. It's like a balance of those two. Some people's bodies are really not good at catabolism, basically breaking down fat, right? And some people's cells are, we're working on more of that metabolic flexibility where we can eat a lot, build new cells, but also get into this phase where we're catabolizing. If you eat too much all day long, you never go into catabolism. That's why I never suggest eating a lot of small meals a day. All right, get out of there. All right, guys, so shake that out. Lay on your back, please. So we're not going to do much in tabletop. We've been doing a ton of that stuff. It might feel good to do a little bit of this. Just think releasing movements. I do want to bring our awareness into our arms and shoulders. That was a lot of hips and core. And now I'm just going to have you relax your hips and core. It's been a few weeks since we did one of my favorite shoulder stretches. You're going to release your legs. You're going to roll to your right. You're going to release your left arm behind you up your back. Now the hand is on your spine. It starts on lower back arch and it walks up the spine. Doesn't go on the side body. Watch the elbow. It hugs down and in more. And then I bring that hand a little up higher. Notice my palm is facing you guys. As I roll to the back, I support myself with my left foot, and I'm literally just going to lay on that arm. Okay, so now it's a compression stretch. I widen my feet. I literally just try to relax my upper body. I go into my breath work. It's been a very active class. Even our stretches were quite stimulating. This is very stimulating, but quite passive now. Let's just breathe here, guys. It's very normal to engage your left shoulder and arm here without really noticing. Come on, tune into the body. Where are you holding tension unconsciously? It's like unconscious tension. That's what we need to expose. Just via really slowing down, bringing awareness to that target body part, okay? A few more breaths. So it's a little bit more of like that yin approach, okay? When you're done there, please release slowly. And you do want to like take a moment to bend and straighten, move the arm, compression stretch. It warrants more neutralizing. Now listen, guys, before you go to your second arm compression, there's a nice little thing you can do. You roll onto your left. Now that left arm that was just behind you is under you more like this, okay? And then I just kind of rock a little bit on that arm. In a sense, I'm massaging my outer shoulder. I like to include a lot of massage techniques, and we're not doing too many of them. So outer shoulder here, rock a little kind of on that shoulder, trying to expose any knots. This one can do, I can feel it right now. Be a little sting there on the outer shoulder particularly. Notice I'm using my hand here, okay? And then that's just a little in between. Whenever you're ready, right arm up, second arm behind, elbow in and down more, hand on the spine, up a little bit more. Spread the fingers. Use your right foot behind you to brace yourself and support your weight as you roll over, okay? Close your eyes, release your legs. It's a little laying meditation after such an active, dynamic practice. Slow down. Remember that I like to suggest, yogis, that you don't need to stretch both sides the same. When I'm doing this stretch on my own, I will literally sometimes mainly do one arm, okay? So a lot of times it's my right arm. I tend to be dominant in like massage and exercise. I'll do a lot more if I'm doing something both sides. The right arm will carry the majority of the weight. So I will stretch my right arm more. Sometimes I'll do my right arm and then I'll try my left arm, give it a little taste, and then I'll go back to my right arm. So it doesn't need to be exact timing. All right, guys, so when you're done there, I just want you to roll off of your right arm, but then just like we did on the first side, where we rolled onto that same arm but in a different manner, you would roll onto your right side and you kind of keep that right arm under you. And as you can see, I have my palm under my thigh too, so I get a little compression through the hand. You'll also get a massage in your outer thigh, so it's like, it's a nice little way to get a second arm compression, straight arm, neutral, arm down by side, right? That's like the most neutral position for your arm, and then you just kind of compress it. You lay on it. You know, it reminds me of things like, you know, say you have rotator cuff or shoulder pain, you don't want to sleep on top of that arm. That's always a general rule of thumb. If you're trying to make your shoulders feel better, oh, this really hurts, well, don't lay on that side. I know that's tough, but it's a good reminder, okay? So listen, guys, to end practice, I'm gonna do restorative postures. I'm not gonna do figure four today. You can do it if you want. It's overdone. So a couple of restorative options. I think we got about 10 minutes. I gotta check the clock, but first option is throwing the block under your butt. If you wanna do active bridges, beautiful. Okay, we do that in most classes. Last gentle yoga, we did a lot of that. Remember the bridge heavy last Saturday, I believe. So here's my first option, just kind of hanging out. This is a nice chest opener. You know, sometimes we lay on the chest and let our arms go open. This is a nice way to, you know, reaching our arms kind of to the back of my mat, not wide, but back and wide. So that's pec minor. It's a deeper underarm, under chest rib muscle, let's say. So that's a nice one. You could also, you know, throw your legs up the wall if your legs tend to be achy. That's one of my favorite things. Any ankle swelling, tightness, pain. You know, we'll hold this for a good 2 minutes. If you want to go big for a lower back stretch, you know, this is where we're going to push it, so be easy. My block does slide lower, more need my coccyx. My feet go wider, and I release my legs. You have to be more particular and aware. I don't want the block compressing my lower back arch, okay? And again, I could go arms wide. So there's our first restorative option, something with a block under your pelvis. Close your eyes. 1.5 more minutes, please. So that's our first restorative pose, guys. When you're done there, no rush, remove your block. I like to suggest a little windshield wiping, even like shaking my legs out a little bit. Just kind of moving, right? Now, second restorative posture could be 2 options here. If you don't have a block, remember you just always use a pillow or a nice kind of folded blanket, more like a rectangular square. Always good to get a nice thick yoga blanket. They're like $10 online, a little bit better than like a throw blanket that's like fleece or something. So my next option could be this: soles of the feet together, knees fall open, and then the block goes under the head. If you want to do figure four or something, that's totally cool. Okay, I want to give you time to build personal practice. Learn get practice listening to your body, not to me necessarily. You already listen to me enough, okay? So soles of the feet together, knees go wide, block into your head. Or you might have to sit up for this. So second restorative option. After this, we're basically gonna do a little Yogoda, okay? So breathing and body tensing. So this is a nice one here. Block into the upper back. Notice my hips on the floor. I love this one. Again, I mentioned like I have your arms here in the first one, now here in the second. Shoulder, chest releases. You can even do the legs together, feet together, knees wide here. So you can do that in both of these. So let's go another 2 minutes. If you're doing, I see a couple of you doing a stretch. You're gonna get like a minute per side. I'll let you know when you're halfway. Either way, you're connecting to your body, you're slowing down, you're working your nasal breathing. This is the season of pollen, right? So a lot of allergies. This is when we need to be more resilient about remembering to nasal breathe. I tend to every spring get it's like the main time of year where I get a little congestion, a little bit. I don't tend to be congested. I can even feel right now. What's the first day of spring? Is it tomorrow or the next day? 2 days? This is the pollen season, guys. So let's be more focused on noticing our mouth breathing. If you're doing something one side, let's switch it up. I know, no down dog today, no child pose, no cobra. Oh, what kind of yoga class is this? Second side, take a good minute, guys. Or some of you are just still hanging on your restorative. Use this time to meditate. Be calm, grounded, self-aware. All right, guys, so we'll finish up that second restorative option here. I do want to start mixing in some more restorative postures into gentle yoga as well. One of these Saturdays, we're going to do like a restorative practice. I haven't been doing that enough here. I'm so healing for the body, just to kind of exercise in a very restful way. So here, let's take 1 more minute. If there's one little last posture you want to do, I'm sure some of you might want like a last spinal twist. You kind of bring both knees in, you drop them over to the side. Happy baby might be a good one here. Just kind of like searching for stickiness in the body. Even things like rolling out your ankles and wrists. We didn't do wrist stretch or many ankle stretches. We did the one big ankle stretch and the quad stretch, the front of the ankle. But we didn't really get like the big Achilles stretch here today, which is rare in my class. I always kind of have you stretch that. Circling the knees might feel good here, just kind of massaging. So I mentioned what's called Yogoda. Okay, we haven't done this in a while. I'm going to start the demo because it takes a little description here. So it's called the full body isometric contraction. So what in the nutshell here, what we're going to do, guys, is take Shavasana position eventually. And I'm going to say, okay, take a big inhale, about 70, 80%.
Hold the breath, and then you're going to engage every muscle in your body for like 3 seconds. But notice that it's not movement. So if you make a fist, in essence, that's the same as bringing your knees into your chest, which is flexing the muscle. And that, you're going to like relax your arms down, your legs down, and I'm going to cue you. I'm going to say deep inhale, hold your breath, engage every muscle, and then relax breath and body. And I will allow you to sigh out now with your mouth open. And we're only going to do 5 rounds. So this is classic Kriya Yoga from the Yogananda, basically the Hedi Mahashai and the Babaji, one of the most ancient forms of yoga, okay, in physical form. So when you're ready, guys, let's do it. Let's lay on our back. And this is going to lead us into our closing meditation. We're only going to do 5 rounds. Remember, I'm going to cue you to inhale. You're going to hold your breath. You're going to engage every muscle very intensely. Then you're going to relax every muscle completely and your breath completely. Okay? So here we go. Let's take a big inhale to start. Big exhale out the mouth. Here we go. Big inhale. You're going to hold your breath, engage every muscle in your body for 3, 2, 1. Relax your breath out and your body relaxes. That's 1 round. Round 2. Inhale. Hold your breath, engage every muscle. Relax it all. Round 3, inhale. Engage every muscle, hold the breath.
Exhale, release body and breath. So max intensity to max release. Last 2 rounds. Inhale. Find that place where it's a nice feeling of breath hold. Engage every muscle. Relax it all out. Body and breath release. And final round at your pace, please. Biggest inhale. Each time breath gets a little deeper, right? You hold it. Each time you engage a little stronger, but also there's like a relaxation in that intensity. You release it out. Final meditation, yogis. Relaxing breath and body completely now. Close your eyes. No deep breathing. Bones get heavy. Jaw, tongue relax now after holding that mouth closed the entire practice. Eyes relax. And you let your body, mind, and breath rest.